Hey there, everybody. So, I guess we gotta make another one of these again. I really thought I was done with this shit. So you may be wondering why I'm looking at Psychology with Dr. Anna, who is a popular therapist YouTuber, right, who educates her audience about therapy and also does some media analysis in her side channels and stuff like that, right? She is a pretty normal YouTuber. I mean, I would say that the majority of her content is about how to deal with abuse, typically from a woman's perspective, but also she talks about things like the entitlement of estranged parents and like other kind of relationship stuff, like typical like relationship kind of psychology stuff, right? And I would say that overall her channel is pretty good, like. And I'm speaking as somebody who has a very different perspective and relation to psychology than she does, right? Like, I am coming from a completely different world than she does, but I think that there's some real value in a channel like this, because one, it offers a perspective into how a therapist thinks about these problems, right? Like, that alone is very valuable, especially somebody who practices in the field, right? And the other thing is that she offers, like, valuable insight that she's gained from that experience, and I don't think that, like, you have to necessarily encode it in the same language that she does and within the DSM to really find value in this work. And I think it's really important to emphasize that a lot of these videos are about, like, relationships in abuse, right? So, like, especially as you get later in this, like, this is a video about abuse. This is a video about dealing with abuse. This is a video about dealing with relationships and interpersonal stuff. Let's see. There's another video about talking about abuse, but from parents. More, women psychology stuff. And, like, again, like, I don't have to agree with every single way that she presents these things, but I think it's part of a larger discourse that she participates in, and especially really important to understand that she is communicating to a large audience of women about abuse. So I think with that in mind, let's see what President Sunday has to say about this person. Now, give me a second, it's not the right part of the video. Here it is.
Become better internally. We strive to become better externally.
Do you mean Dr. Anna's psychologist? What did she do? She started making a bunch of content basically feeding into the hatred and demonization of people with BPD and diagnosed narcissistic disorders and so on.
What? Wait, where? Where does she talk about that? Right, okay, she criticizes narcissism a lot on her channel. Like, let's get that out of the way. But what she means by narcissism is she's not saying that people that are diagnosed specifically with NPD are evil or bad. She's saying that narcissistic behavior is harmful, right? Now, what we might call it in our sphere is we might call it, like, individualist behavior or the behavior that reflects, like, bourgeois sensibilities or whatever. But she's basically talking about the same thing as when, Guattari talks about how, like, individualist, immature, infantile behavior and regression and stuff, is harmful. Like, they're talking about the same thing. I hope you understand that, right? Like, she's not saying that people diagnosed with NPD are bad. She's saying that narcissistic behavior, especially in abusive relationships where a man may be dominating over a woman, is harmful. So, I'd like a little bit more of an explanation about what you mean when you say that she's saying these things. I'd like a couple of examples or something. Like, I think this is a big deal. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a relatively short clip, but I think this reveals a lot of worrying things. So, let's continue.
Anything sort of in that sphere, to a lay audience, which then uses that information more accurately, uses that rhetoric in order to diagnose their loved ones or people who have, caused them pain in their lives, so they can cope by treating these people as if they are, subhuman.
Sunday, we have to have a conversation. That is not what she's fucking saying, okay? she is not telling, and this is not what her audience is doing either, for the record. What she is doing is she is educating women about basic information about how abuse in relationships work, right? From, like, her perspective as a therapist, and her own perspectives with, you know, being a woman and dealing with things from men, right? And she's educating her audience about these kinds of things. And maybe the demonization that you're complaining about is those women rightfully acting in a way saying, I'm not gonna deal with that shit anymore. Right now, like, okay, she's got some weird shit on her channel. Like, I don't know what the fuck this why light personalities end up with dark personalities according to this. I don't even know what the fuck that means, right? But, like, it's kind of hard to look at the majority of this channel and think, yeah, these people, this person is teaching her audience to just hate on their spouses, right? And it especially with the context that she's primarily addressing a female audience. I think it sounds like you're getting, you know, it almost sounds a little bit like projection here. Now, I'm not saying anything about your personal relationships, but I think it speaks a lot about, you know, how you see the world and how you see women and how you see minorities when this is how you react to somebody educating her audience about abuse and the way you've treated me in the past. Like, let's get real here for a second, Sunday. You seem to think that it's a huge fucking flex to share a fucking Kickstarter link to the point where you wrote one of the most disgusting messages that I've honestly ever seen in this community. Like, you know, all you had to do was not say fucking anything, and you would have not have looked like fucking shit, and yet you did. You had to say that, and it's just really weird how you act like an abusive husband to me, right, in public, in a ridiculous way, and then now you're saying this. I just think that's interesting, and I think that you should have an explanation for yourself, that's all.